Merry meet and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. I am so happy to be here with you and I hope you are having a wonderful day. Moderating today on YouTube are the lovely Shirley and the lovely Honeypaw, and on Twitch is the lovely Dre. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you to everybody for joining us today. We've got kind of a long-ish psalm, so we're going to get right to it because we do have a premiere right after this at 11 a.m. And if we get the psalm done in time, then I'll have time to answer any questions if any come through or make any announcements. So we'll just get started right now. If you do have questions, you can put them right in that chat thread. Excuse me. Today we are working Psalm 103. Psalm 103 is used in Psalm Magic for forgiveness of any transgression, and also it's used for help in conceiving a child. So anybody that are trying to get going with conceiving a child, this is a very popular psalm for doing that. And along the same vein, what today I want to use this psalm for is to receive lush blessings. Lush blessings. So if you want the lush life, if you want to receive blessings of lush prosperity, this is a great psalm for you. The way we work psalms is very simple and effective. We take the psalm in question and we recite it out loud all the way through once without stopping. We call this an incantation. Then we go back through that same psalm and we dissect it one verse at a time. And we really get underneath all of those words and see if we can find some magic, some occult meanings. And we look at those as being magic seeds. And when we're doing this, digging and searching and just really trying to roll up our sleeves and do some righteous work in there, what we do is we not only discover those seeds, but that labor plants the seeds in the depths of our minds where they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and then they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what we are going to do together right now with Psalm 103. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Let's start that again. Bless the Lord. Sorry, here I go. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfy thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. The Lord executeth righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy toward them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. Like as a father pitieth his children, like as a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. For he knoweth our frame, he remembereth that we are dust. As for man, his days are as grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourisheth. For the wind passeth over it, and it is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. But the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children. To such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments, do to them. I'm sorry. To such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. The Lord hath prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom ruleth over all. Bless the Lord, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do his pleasure. Bless the Lord, all his works. Bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul. I have a very bad view of my screen where I'm actually reading this psalm, so I apologize for all of the false starts there. I got it better now. All right, we start out with, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. All right, so we are speaking directly to the soul, to the heart. Remember in the Bible, soul and heart both hearken to the deep mind. The soul is sometimes called the man within the man here, but here we're looking at it as the deep mind. Remember that the deep mind, once it gets something and it really digests something, when it believes that something is what it is, it makes it so in the objective world. That's its role. And so that's why so many people, are trying to convince their deep mind, oh, I'm wealthy, or I'm in a good relationship, or I'm healthy. Because the theory is correct there, that if you get your deep mind on board with whatever your desire is, then your desire manifests. So it's a similar kind of idea here when we say, bless the Lord, O my soul. We're telling the deep mind to give blessing to the infinite. Because remember, we can't expect blessings from the infinite until we start the ball rolling. So we have to give the blessing in order to receive the blessing. And it says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. So we are acknowledging that all is within us, that the external is simply a reflection. So all of our work has to be internal. It says, bless his holy name. Now, in the ancient Israelite religions, they were very superstitious about the holy name of God. But for an occultist, the holy names of God are simply names that are the nature of that God. So anything in Scripture that says the name of something, it's talking about the nature of that thing. So the nature of God, we know, is principle, the principle of life itself that never ends, the principle of the idea of a soul, not as the deep mind, but as the soul, meaning an extension of individuality as God. That's what you are. Like a beam of light from a star. That's who you are. You're a unique soul. That's the name of God as well. Another name of God is Spirit, that which is indestructible, that which can't be harmed in any way. Eternal. That's one of the names of God as well. God's nature is also infinite intelligence. That's a name of God. The idea that babies grow out of embryos and planets revolve around a central sun, etc. Infinite intelligence, the secrets that scientists are always trying to uncover, and there will never be a time when they uncover all of them because they are infinite. Infinite intelligence, infinite truth. There's only truth in the mind of the infinite. And anything that doesn't align with that truth doesn't actually exist. And that's one of the mysteries of how the Psalms help us, magically speaking, to solve problems, is because they realign those inner parts that it's talking about in here, that deep mind, with the truth. And so anything that's not true stops casting its shadow on our experience. So infinite truth is a name of God. Infinite love. love, compassion. Those are names of God. You are created out of an act of love. You are created out of the fabric of love. That's the truth about the infinite, is love. Anything that doesn't look like love, that calls itself God, is an imposter. And that's that whole mystery of the demiurge, which we'll probably talk about a little bit more later in this psalm. The idea of infinite law, God's laws, law. There is the law of cause and effect. That's the prime law. That is the covenant, that every effect has its cause. So once we understand that we are responsible for what we think, we are responsible for how we perceive things, then we are in alignment with that covenant. And we no longer blame our problems on external circumstances. We start recognizing that we have the power to change those things based on that covenant, based on understanding that the law of cause and effect is ultimately that there is cause in the invisible world, or in the world of thought, and effect is in the world of the physical. And that the physical world has no causation, and that believing that the physical world has causation is where the heart of all superstition is. And then there's also the name of God that we use frequently called presence, God's presence. That's also known as the fear of God, the presence of that which is eternal. So those are the names of God. Bless his holy name. So we're blessing the idea of who God is as quality, not as some external deity that we're appeasing. Important to understand the difference there between a magical experience of God and a religious experience of God. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. So we are really looking at the idea of what the infinite is here. Now, it's saying the Lord, so it is saying tetragrammaton, Yod, He, Vav, He. In Genesis 2, Yod, He, Vav, He, Elohim was introduced. But that character in Genesis 2 was not this loving, sweet, compassionate God. It was something else completely. And so it's based on the way that character that's called God behaves, that you know whether it's the real God or the imposter. And that's the occult look at the Bible. We have to look under the hood and ask questions. We can't just swallow everything in the Bible whole and believe it. We have to ask questions if we're going to get anything of value out of it. So we're talking here about the true God, the God that is compassionate. All the benefits, only benefits us, only cares about us being happy. That's God's only will for us is benefit. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. The infinite intelligence here, the infinite, all of the God, the Lord, as it's called in the Psalms, that are all of those qualities or all of those names that we just discussed. The whole purpose and the whole relationship of that God with us is that God is the cause of all of our good and wants only good for us. And anything that doesn't look like that good is not God's will and therefore can't ultimately exist. And if we are experiencing those things within the realm of this nightmare, wants to remove those things from our experience. Doesn't want us to have even one iota of a second where we are not happy. So forgiving your iniquities and healing your diseases, meaning doesn't even see them. Never is a thing, knows that they're not real. You think that you're so bad, you're going to try to prove that you're so bad or not good enough. God's not having it. God's saying, nope, I don't see it that way at all. You're perfect just the way you are, and you can't change that because that's my will. Who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies. Whoa, what a great verse. Any time that you are coming to this, a psalm to be released from destructive experiences in your physical life, infinite intelligence is right there saying, yeah, I'm here. I'm here for that. But we got to go within the covenant. You've got to understand cause and effect. So if you let me show you how to think, you'll have different experiences. I can't go against the law of cause and effect, but I can be here for you to change those causes. And so that's why when you come to the Psalms to heal a problem, don't ask that the problem be healed. Ask that your mind be healed. Because then you're asking for the cause to be healed. And when you go for that, then your healing is instantaneous. But if you ask the infinite to go and heal the cause, to heal the effects, but you're going to just keep thinking whatever you want to think, not going to happen, because the infinite doesn't go against the infinite's own law. But it says, who crowned thee with loving kindness and tender mercies. Loving kindness is actually, if you look in the Hebrew, it's hesed. So that's sphere number 4, interestingly enough. But crowning you, that's the top of the tree of life, or the tree, the Kabbalistic tree that is Kether, that is the top. And when the infinite crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies, that means that it's acknowledging your sovereignty. You're part of a royal family. So it's not only saying, oh yeah, you're going to have all your problems solved. Not only that, not only are you going to have your problem solved, you're going to have your problem solved because that's what you deserve as a sovereign, as a member of a line of royalty. The infinite sees you as royalty, not as just some poor little thing that needs its help. And it is acknowledging you, is bringing your mind up to the fact that you are a member of a very royal family, that you are somebody, really important somebody. You're just as important as anybody else in the eyes of the infinite. Who satisfy thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. That's the fountain of youth there. The fountain of youth, that is what the alchemists have always been seeking. That philosopher's stone is right there in verse number 5. Satisfying your mouth with good things, meaning that you always not only get good nutrition and things to eat so that you don't starve here in the physical world, but think of that on a metaphysical level, on an occult level, that what you receive as your spiritual nourishment comes straight from the infinite. Comes straight from the infinite, because if you think about that, not so much as God the Father, but as God the Mother nursing you, making sure that you are always taken care of, always fed, always sees you in the most loving light, no matter what. And you're always her little baby, always her perfect child, and you never grow old to her. And in that relationship, you have eternal youth. And that's your relationship forever and ever and ever, is the beloved child of this divine mother. The Lord executeth righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. So if you're feeling something in the physical world that is counter to all of this, the infinite's will is that you have healing, no matter what it is. If you're oppressed, that be healed. That righteousness, it says, the Lord executeth righteousness. Righteousness is right thinking. Again, the infinite will work with you at the realm of cause in order that the realm of effect be healed. And it can be very quick. It can be instantaneous, but it's got to be that you're working on the realm of cause with the infinite. Heal my mind. Heal my thoughts. And that's how righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed, we want God to judge you. You want this judgment, because the infinite looks at everything and understands it as it really is, because the infinite doesn't have an ego. So when the infinite looks at your situation, it will say, okay, we want to keep this, we want to let this go. We want to keep this, we want to let that go. And that's the judgment, that's the righteous judgment, because the infinite looks at you and says, the only thing that's real about you is what I created. All this other stuff that you and your brothers and sisters on earth have sort of made up for yourself, none of that goes. None of that's real. So if you want to be free of this, I want you to be free of this, but you have to let yourself be healed in your mind. He made known his way unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. Moses is you. Moses is that part of your mind that takes up the mantle of leadership and says, we are going to lead ourselves, we're going to lead our tribe, which is all your thoughts, all your thought forms, out of exile. We're going to lead ourselves out of oppression, and we're going to be free. And we're going to, and the part of you that's Moses is the part of you that listens to your inner guidance. That listens to your inner guidance. Because if you weren't listening to your inner guidance, you wouldn't go into the Red Sea and say, oh, we're going to be fine. That would never occur to you to do that, because it seems like something that would be stupid. But if your inner guidance is telling you, you go into the Red Sea and we're going to part that for you, you don't question that, because you know that that inner guidance is the voice for the infinite itself. So that's what that, he made his way unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. The children of Israel are the thoughts that are born out of a relationship with the infinite. Remember, your mind is constantly expanding. You're constantly expanding. You're not just like this finite little soul that's just sitting there doing nothing. You are expanding. You are getting larger and bigger and more expansive. And the way that happens is that your thoughts come up with new thoughts, And if those thoughts are within the line of ordination, if you will, that comes straight from who you are as a soul, everything is exactly as it's supposed to be. But if you start thinking separately from that, then you're thinking along the lines of what we would call your ego mind, which is programmed, is an idea that you're separate, and that you aren't holy, and that you aren't cared for, and that you are all by yourself, and that you have to fight against the cold, hard world. That's the whole thought system based on the ego, which is a lie. All of those ideas are lies. All of those ideas are wrong, and they are, technically speaking, not righteous, meaning they're not correct. They're not coming straight from the infinite. They are not part of who you are. They are not God's will. And anything that's not God's will can't exist, but you can, because you're so powerful, make it seem like it exists within the realm of a hallucination or a nightmare or an illusion, which is what a lot of how we experience our world is. So in order to get those illusions healed, again, what do you have to do? Change your thinking. Change your thinking back to that which the infinite thinks along with you, not all by yourself coming up with ideas, all by yourself or based on what somebody else taught you, etc., what you picked up from generations. So that's what this psalm is all about, is getting our mind focused back on the cause of our good. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. So when it says that the Lord is merciful and gracious, that means that all your problems are solved already. In the infinite's mind, you don't have any problems, but it understands that you believe that you have problems, and it wants to help you out of that by allowing you to learn how to think properly. That's the whole idea of this. It says slow to anger. It's an old-fashioned way of saying there is no anger in the infinite. Anger isn't something that the infinite has. The infinite doesn't get angry. That's not what the fear of God is. You're not afraid of God's anger. You might be afraid of the demiurge's anger, which is that character in Genesis 2 that's like, rah, rah, you get out of here. That's not from the infinite. The infinite doesn't treat its beloved creations as anything other than beloved. And it has nothing but compassion. It has nothing but a desire for healing. Now, to the ego mind, that can seem like anger. That can seem like anger. When things really start to change and you start to have everything work out for you, the ego mind doesn't like that. And it feels as though that the infinite is angry. But it says slow to anger and plenteous in mercy. Plenteous, infinite in mercy. Infinite in mercy. So when your soul is interacting with the infinite, all you have is mercy. You don't have anger. You don't have anything but plenteous mercy, meaning the solving of every problem, any need, no matter what. There's no order of what's easy and what's difficult. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. So this is from the point of view of the ego, like we said, from the point of view of the ego, it can seem as if the infinite is angry because things change so quickly. And when the ego's ways no longer work, the ego takes it very personally. And you want your you want your ego to be powerless. You want your ego to be overcome. But if you are identifying as your ego, it's going to feel like, oh, God's really mad at me. It's not the case at all. There's no anger toward you. The only thing that will feel like anger from God is if you are identifying with the part of your mind that is the cause of the problem that's being healed. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. That's because God doesn't look at you and see a sinner. God doesn't look at you and say, oh, look what you did. Sorry, gotta go to hell. That's not even a thing. That's all part of the ego's religions. The infinite looks at you and sees who you are, the way you were created. And God's opinion of you is that you're fabulous. There's nothing about you that's not fabulous. However, the infinite is also very smart and knows that you're not happy when you're not happy, and understands that the reason you're not happy is because you believe that you're something that you're not. And so a psalm like this is all about you allowing yourself to be taught who you are and to re-educate your mind so that you're thinking along the lines of who you are as a soul, so that any problems that you have, not only those problems get solved, but in our case today, that all of your blessings increase, because that's God's will for you, is to have infinite blessings. So God doesn't look at you and say, oh, sinner, oh, iniquity, oh, you made a mistake. That's not what God sees. God sees fabulous soul, just as I created, unique, nobody like this one. Love this one. Love this soul. That's how God feels about you. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy toward them that fear him. Okay, here's the fear of God. That means the presence of God. The fear of God could be easily translated as the ecstasy of God, meaning that it's the only way to experience, quote, fear that has no pain attached to it. Any other kind of fear has pain attached to it, so it doesn't feel good. But the fear of God feels amazing because all you are experiencing is the ecstasy of that. And that ecstasy, that fear of God, is like a high vibration that flicks off anything that's unlike itself. So that's why so great is his mercy toward them that fear him, because that ecstasy, that fear of God, in and of itself gets rid of anything that's not like itself, because you recognize that it doesn't really exist to begin with. For as the heaven is high above the earth. So the reason why the heaven is high above the earth is because heaven is cause and earth is effect. And you can't go into the earth and change anything. You got to change it from heaven. And you live in heaven. That's where your mind is. That's where your true mind is. Not your ego mind, but your soul's mind. That's where you live. God doesn't have you like exiled down on earth somewhere. God has you right where you are, in heaven, with them. And now it's up to us to start to awaken to that fact. And the way we awaken to that fact is we start acting like it. And we recognize, okay, I got to get my mind healed. I'm going to think like a soul. I don't want to think like an ego. And then I'm going to have experiences of a soul rather than of an ego. And the experiences of a soul are a life of abundance, a life of lush blessings. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. That's right. When you ask for these lush blessings, and the infinite says the only way for that to happen is through the law of cause and effect. So we need to change your thinking. And you say, okay, let's change our thinking. Well, everything that's not like the truth about you is removed from you. Those are called transgressions here. And since those transgressions are removed, since those ego thoughts are removed, the effects of those erroneous ideas are then removed as well. And it looks like a miracle has happened in the physical world, but it's just the mathematical, orderly result of cause and effect. You change the cause, the effect happens. Like as a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. Pity in this regard means I'm going to heal you. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be broke. You don't need to be sick. You don't need all of those effects of your ego thinking. None of that is my will for you. Therefore, if we can heal your mind, you can have the experience of my will for you. But you have free will, and you can use your mind any way you want to. I can't force you. But if this is what you want, I will show you how to get it. And I've given you an inner teacher. I've given you a teacher to show you. And all you have to do is remember to ask at every turn, how should I think? How should I act? What should I do? And if you do that, then those new thoughts will take over. The old thoughts will no longer have any effect on you, and things will change, and you will have a lush life. You will have a lush existence filled with so many blessings, because that's God's will for you. For he knoweth our frame, he remembereth that we are dust. In this regard, our frame and our dust is talking about our physical universe. The physical universe here, the way that we understand it, is based on our own idea of separation and our own ego thoughts. And therefore, the ego is of dust as well. And the infinite knows that even if you don't change your mind, eventually you're going to have to, because that's just your nature. Eventually you will. None of what the problems of this world are can last, because they're all ultimately illusion anyway. And the infinite knows that. So the infinite's not worried. The infinite's not like, oh, I hope they get this. The infinite understands that you're going to get it. But if you want it now, the infinite's there for that. As for man, his days are as grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourisheth. So in the mortal world, your days are like grass, meaning that they come up one day and then they're gone. They come up one day and they're gone. But who you are as a soul is a flower of the field that flourisheth. So there is a part of your soul that, there is a part of your mind connected to your soul that understands the eternality of who you are. And so when you blossom, you're not worried about the blossom dying. You're not worried about the grass dying. You recognize that the blossoming is itself eternal, not the actual petals, not the actual, not the trappings of each blessing. So yeah, here in this world, things come and they go, and they come and they go. They flourish and they die. But in the real world, you understand that blossoming is eternal, and that's who you are. For the wind passeth over it, and it is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. And ultimately, why this is good news is because this is where your problems are going. Your problems have no substance to them. They have only an appearance of life. But that appearance of life is only experienceable in the world of illusion, which is temporal, and they will die. But who you are as a flourishing part of the garden can't die. You're like the flower bush, not the flower itself. And it's never going to die, because it's not God's will that you be anything but eternal. But the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children. Here, children's children are talking about the expansiveness of your mind and how you're going to keep growing and growing and growing. And the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them who fear him. So fearing the Lord, that ecstasy of God, can only happen in the present moment. That's everlasting to everlasting. happily ever after only happens in the moment. It's not a string of events that goes on in linear time for an eternity. That's not what eternity is. Eternity doesn't exist in the future or the past or in linear time at all. Eternity exists right now in that present moment. And that's where your salvation is in the present moment. And that's the only way to fear God is in the present moment, because fearing God, remember, means ecstasy. To such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. The covenant is cause and effect. Understanding that that's the law, that's the ultimate law of God, is cause and effect. And if you get your mind right, all of your experiences will be right. And so letting yourself be taught, asking that your mind be healed, not your circumstances. The Lord hath prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom ruleth and his kingdom ruleth over all. The kingdom of God in heaven is the idea that there is prime cause, and that you as a soul are an effect. But then as that effect, you've been given the power of also being a cause. So how you use the power of being a cause is based on whether you're thinking in alignment with the truth or you're thinking something false. If you're thinking something false, then you as a cause are causing something that doesn't exist to happen. How do you cause something that can't exist to happen? You can cause something that can't exist to happen within the realm of a dream, nightmare, fantasy, hallucination, which is the bulk of what we experience in this world. However, if you allow yourself to think as a soul, and you align your thinking, your causative powers with the truth, then you can experience heaven on earth. You can experience paradise. You can experience that which is permanently perfect. You can't do both at the same time, though. One or the other is what you get. You either get the world that God made for you, or you get the world that the demiurge made for you. But the good news is that the demiurge's world doesn't exist. And when you wake up, it's gone. When you wake up, that world is gone, just like when Dorothy woke up in that movie. It's gone. It was just a distant memory of a weird dream that you had. And that's ultimately what we're going for here, is to wake up. Bless the Lord, ye his angels that excel in strength, and that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. The word of God is the will of God. It is the will of God that the angels help us. And that's why we work with angels, is because that's what their function is to help us. But ultimately, if you're not thinking superstitiously about what angels are, they are simply the thoughts of God that are reaching into the dream in order to help us gently awaken. And so whatever angel is necessary for you to awaken to the truth in any particular situation is the angel that you will work with in that regard. Now, obviously, if you're working with angel magic, everything is a lot more codified than that. But if you're not doing that, it's okay. The infinite knows what it's doing. You'll be fine. Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do his pleasure. The host of heaven is the body of God itself. And the body of God itself, as the host of heaven, as those ministering angels, are there to help us. And that help is always available if we but ask for it, but cannot go against our free will. So if you don't desire this, if you don't desire to change your mind, nobody's going to bang you over the head with it. They will patiently wait until you do desire to change your mind. Bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul. So we're basically ending as we started. Bless the Lord, O my soul. I've got to be the start of this. My deep mind has to say, I want this. And so I'm going to send out blessings from the depth of my being so that I can receive those same blessings to the depth of my being, asking that my mind be healed. And when my mind is healed, the circumstances are healed. So you just keep coming back to this same psalm again and again until you get that sense that all is well and everything is working out. You get a sense of peace and certainty. And when you have that sense of peace and certainty, then you know your spell is cast and you can move on. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, blessed be. We got to end this stream so that we can get right to the premiere. I hope we see you over at that premiere. If you had any questions, get on either our Facebook group or our Discord server, and I'll get to those from there. Until next time, blessed be.